Well, Ben, you've done a lot of fun stuff. I also think back, the blog, I've gone and visited. There's some really funny stuff there. I like a lot of your writing and different things. And some of your videos have been a lot of fun. I'm thinking back to the one that's like the old In Excess video, or was it the Beatles that did the card and throwing the cards around, where you did that video just where you didn't say anything. It was just written cards about that. Anyway, I think you did a fantastic job with that, and I think it's really creative. And in this day and age, you've got to be more creative with trying to promote stuff. But in regards to promotion, your website's going to keep people up to date, and we've listed that throughout the show so people could see that. But now you're also working on a zine. This zine will change your life. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, sure. You know, part of it is one of my ongoing fantasies I talk about in the blog, which is sort of building my own media empire, right? So the videos are part of that empire, and I've done a series of podcasts where I've sort of got other writers to sit down with me in bars or coffee shops and talk about literature, and I put those podcasts up on the blog. But I've always had this fantasy for many years about, wouldn't it be cool to have my own zine? And then I really want to stress, you know, part of my fantasy with that, I mean, it looked like fun, is, you know, I'm an off-the-radar sort of obscure writer with some small following, maybe 6 or 7 people. You know, there's lots of people like me, and not just writers, musicians and artists and photographers. And so part of my fantasy with the zine was to say, how do I give some of these other people some exposure? I get to do something that I will find enjoyable, which is an ongoing sort of measure for me, but how can I maybe give some other people exposure? You know, I would add that with the blog, that's been a big goal too. While I rampantly and narcissistically sell myself, my goal is to always get other writers in there and other bloggers in there and people making music in their garage who are, you know, creating their own discs. And so that's an ongoing thing. How do you expose independent media? So with the zine, that's been one of my goals. And the way I've sort of stretched it out is I have a very good friend, Jason Behrens, who has a great blog, What to Wear During an Orange Alert. And his goal is to get musicians and writers exposed. He did an early interview with me. I really appreciate it. And so I started talking to him, and I thought, wouldn't it be cool to sort of link up with Jason and not just publish some story by some obscure or semi-obscure writer, but why not pick a song that invokes something with that story? And why not give some off-the-radar band a chance to appear in the zine? Because we're starting it off as
kind of a multimedia thing.
Totally, yeah, absolutely. Then I was talking to another good friend of mine, Adam Lawrence, who is actually, I've known since nursery school, and he's actually one of the models for the character of Jake in my novel. And, you know, he is a copious sort of cataloger of street art in New York City. And street art's one of my longtime fascinations. So I was talking to him one night, and, you know, he's got thousands of pictures on Flickr of different photographs around New York City. And I thought, man, what if you took the story and you found a picture and you added some music and you got all these people no one really knows and you put it all together? That would be a really cool thing. So I get to work with 2 of my friends. I get to give people a chance if they're so interested. And I get to further enmesh myself in the world of sort of graffiti art and independent music. So for me, it's just a total victory.
Well, it's very cool indeed, Ben, and we're going to help promote. We'll have the link up at the website when people come to see the show if they want more information. And if you want to throw a quick info as to people trying to submit stuff, not just see, is there a special website or link people should go to for that?
Well, yeah, no, they can use the email for the zine, which is thiszine@yahoo.com. And certainly they'll see, you'll put the link. If they go to that link, there are submission guidelines. You know, I'm really interested in fiction and nonfiction. I love comics. Poems are cool. We're going to run some poems in the next issue by a great friend of mine, Corey Messler, who's a writer down in Memphis. And, you know, what I'm excited about is I like stories that are funny and I like stories that are dark. And if people can sort of strike that combination, they should really send things along. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. You know, the first story we ran, and the zine is new, we ran a story called Move In With Me by a guy named Sam Pink. And it's just a great little story, just a perfect little story. It seemed like a great way to kick off the zine. Now we're going to do some poems. We got some other stories. So yeah, I hope people will feel free to take some chances. You know, anything for around 1,200 words, 1,500 words, you know, send it along. If we can find a place, you know, I would add, Jim, that one of my goals is to sort of create a community. People who know they've got a place to submit work and they're sort of part of a family. I mean, when I have those opportunities myself, I'm really thrilled about it. So hopefully we can create a little Zine Will Change Your Life group, and people say, that's cool. Those guys write, those women, you know, they write for that zine and they get taken care of. That'd be a lot of fun.
Well, I think it's a cool idea, and one of the things we really promote here at Cult Pop is trying to get people together who are trying to encourage. If it's comic book artists or illustrators or painters, writers, I just really encourage people trying to help other people out, people who have already made it, who have already gotten a book out and helping others, so I really respect what you've done there. But we've got to just about wrap up, Ben. I'm a huge fan of Lucky Man, and I want to give you 30 seconds. I want you to say in 30 seconds why people at home should buy the book Lucky Man. They can find it on Amazon. They can go to their bookstores. Why is it worth it to them to track it down? Give us about 30 seconds on why it's such a great book.
Besides the fact that you get to support independent media, besides the fact that we think it'll change your life, at least for 5 minutes, and besides the fact that you'll help me feed my children, I think it's an interesting read. And the people who've contacted me have said, you know, like you, Jim, this reminds me of a time in my life. Or, I'm glad I found this book now, or I wish I'd found this book then. So apparently, at least for some folks, I've gotten into their heads, and that's a great outcome. You know, I hope people can get into my head when they read a book, but if I feel like they're in their heads, then I think we've accomplished something. And, you know, thus far, a lot of people have given me that reaction. I think that's pretty neat.
Well, I couldn't have said it any better, Ben. I will just say I absolutely loved his book. Folks at home, I really recommend you pick up Lucky Man. I really enjoyed the heck out of it. I had a smile on my face when I was done, and I really think you folks at home will have the same feelings. Fantastic novel. Folks, if you would, please stay tuned for more Cult Pop.